All right, welcome back, guys. We made it. Kind of. Tomorrow is the big game we've been waiting for constantly and constantly and constantly. All year we've been talking about it. If you've been following this channel, you know that I've been pushing this for a while. I believe that this team should be in this position, and they are. That is a credit to Sean McVay, Les Snead, Stan Kroenke for opening up his pocket, where other owners may not have wanted to fund such a experiment here, spending all the money that they have. A credit to the players, the coaching staff. I mean, there's so much here. Big credit, big props to quarterback Matthew Stafford. And he is in the same position, though. We just saw Jared Goff in not long ago. Can he bring it home? I think he can. As you guys know, I have 30-27. But let me just say this, and this is not jinxing it, because nothing I say is going to impact the game, okay? And it's not like I'm saying they're 100% going to win and, don't give them a chance, whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is something bigger and something deeper and something that we need to talk about before the game. The Rams right now, it seems as though everybody is trying to make something happen, right? They're trying to make something out of nothing. They're trying to do the whole, well, Sean McVay is probably going to retire, right? It's going to happen, right? That's where we're leaning. Okay, Sean McVay is going to retire because he's going to get, whatever the media wants to throw out there. It is overblown garbage, okay? Sean McVay, for whatever reason, is being compared to John Gruden, who, by the way, he's already better than John Gruden. Regardless of what anyone says, he's already better than John Gruden. But he's being compared to John Gruden, and the way he, the way he coaches, the way he speaks and things like that. And so because he's compared to John Gruden, okay, because he's compared to John Gruden, you have the media that's like, well, John Gruden left early, and he went to the booth, so Sean McVay's going to. That's not going to happen, guys. I'm telling you that right now. It's not going to happen. And we have some confirmation because Ian Rappaport just came out and said, basically, he texted Sean McVay. Sean McVay said he wants to coach. He's committed to this team. He was asked if he would coach until 60. He was, once again, shocker, taken out of context by the media that wants to run with a false narrative. No, he is not leaving after this season. He's not leaving anytime soon, as Ian Rappaport said. And that's the way it is. And I feel like it's time, if Sean McVay wins this Super Bowl, even if he doesn't, but especially if he wins it, can we stop comparing him to John Gruden? Can we stop comparing him to all these coaches and just start talking about this guy like maybe he's in a league of his own? Maybe he's on the path to, a place we've never seen. And you know why I say that? Because if Sean McVay wins a Super Bowl tomorrow, yes, he might have had two if he won against New England. And then again, if he won against New England, maybe everything is all different. That didn't happen. The Super Bowl's designed, if you lose, you die. If you win, you're immortalized. Well, the Rams came back up to the mountaintop. They are here. They need to win this game. And Sean McVay, if he does win this game, is the youngest head coach in NFL history to win a Super Bowl. He has multiple coaches on his coaching tree that have either, now you have Zach Taylor in the Super Bowl, you have LaFleur getting to the NFC title game, and of course, you have Brandon Staley. Now you have Kevin O'Connell coming through so there's so many, okay? There's so many coaches. He has this giant coaching tree, but let's not just focus on that. Because Sean McVay, at the end of the day, it's very, very simple. It is very simple. He is above and beyond what many expected being hired at 30. He's pretty much around what I expected when I really wanted the Rams to go after him at age 30. And the reason, because I had such a high level of confidence in him. I liked him more than Shanahan. I liked him more than Patricia. I liked him more than pretty much all those guys. And so this doesn't entirely surprise me. But here's the thing, okay? The Rams are setting themselves up to be the next great dynasty. And I understand people get freaked out by the D word. I've gone on shows and I have yet to, actually plead my case on my channel. And it is time to do that, okay? The Rams have a chance to be the next great dynasty should they win this game. Okay, here's the thing. They win a Super Bowl, and you now have to think about what comes after that. What is the domino effect for them winning a Super Bowl? What is it? Sean McVay stays coaching. He's probably going to get an extension. So that's the first thing. Check that box off. Sean McVay's not retiring. Get over it. He's not. Sorry, other teams are going to have to figure that out. You're going to have to figure out how to stop him. So he's not retiring. So what after that, what happens? Let's just go from position. Okay, first you have Matthew Stafford, who in the offseason literally alluded to the idea he could play another 10 years. I'm not saying he will. I'm pretty certain he's not going to because he's been banged up so much in Detroit. But, I mean, I'm going to say this right now. Kelly Stafford is not a wife to me, and at least that we've seen, that is somebody out there that is saying, hey, Matthew, retire. She very much is interested in Matthew Stafford, his football career. She talks about, she has her own podcast. She's somewhat of a celebrity now. Like, she does not care that Matthew Stafford plays football. She supports him, and I don't think that's going to push him. And because Matthew Stafford loves football so much, even though he is, a father of 3 kids, and you could see him being that dad that, wants to, spend his time and take care of his kids, he loves football. Okay, this is somebody that played football at the University of Georgia. This is somebody that was drafted number 1 overall. He didn't, he spent 12 years in Detroit. He had 3 playoff games that he played in, and then he goes to the Rams, and now all of a sudden he has a taste of not only the playoffs, he's now won 3 straight, has a chance to win a Super Bowl. He's not going anywhere. And on top of that, should he win a Super Bowl, he's one of only 2 quarterbacks, including himself, to bring home the Lombardi to the Rams organization, the other one being Kurt Warner. So he's not exactly about to get pushed out because unlike some of the folks in the front office and the coaching staff that were willing to push out Kurt Warner, there is some damn good personnel in the Rams organization, and they're not going to push out Stafford. So you have Stafford, you have that, communication and just how much he's gelled with Sean McVay. Sean McVay said he's become a better coach because of coaching Matthew Stafford and how intelligent he is. So they're on the same page. So you got your duo because, every great dynasty needs a duo. That's just how it is. Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, that's a duo. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, regardless of what you have to say about either, that's a duo. So you need a great duo. So Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford may not be, Matthew Stafford. He may not be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or whatever, but this is somebody that all of a sudden is going to start to put himself up there in the high categories. And the reason I say that is because he's been the fastest to get to 50,000 yards passing. He is on his way up the rungs. So this guy, now that he is with the Rams, now that he is with Sean McVay, now that he is in an offense that he is comfortable with and a defense that can back him up, the sky's the limit with him in terms of the next 5 years. I honestly, I'd say he plays probably until 38, 39 years old. So I'd say you got 4 or 5 years. He's not playing 10 more years. He's talked about it. He's not playing 10 more years. I really don't think so. I think he's way more banged up than Tom Brady was because, Tom Brady was taken care of in New England, whereas Matthew Stafford was, broken, beaten, scarred in Detroit. That doesn't go away. He's going to have issues. He's going to have to get a lot of offseason work. He's got to get things cleaned up, so that is something that I think will take, some time off his career. But 5 to 6 years, talk about him playing at age 38, age 39. The Rams are now looking at what? What's 5 years from now? Sean McVay's in his 40s. Think about how much Sean McVay has learned, how many mistakes he's been able to make, and how many he has corrected, how many things that he's learned. He's got to win this Super Bowl. He's got it, right? Because that's the ultimate, okay, I figured it out. I won the big game. But Sean McVay is 36 years old. Bill Belichick had not even started his head coaching career until age 38. So that is a thing for me. That's a thing for me that I continue to say, I continue to believe in, that Sean McVay is beyond what we're used to. He just is, right? Sean McVay is beyond what we're used to. So he is unprecedented as the youngest head coach ever. He's got all of these connections. He's got this great connection with Stafford. And so I'm not trying to get you overhyped to the point where, I let you down for a letdown. I'm trying to explain to you what we're dealing with here and why the league and why probably the media doesn't want this to come out as such. If you really do some critical thinking, if you really think about it, Sean McVay is making all of these mistakes early on in his career, losing his first playoff game in 2017, only to bounce back and go to the Super Bowl 2 years later, and then going through a rut of not making the playoffs. That, by the way, he would have made the playoffs in this stupid 17 format. I'll throw that out there. Then going in 2020, making the playoffs, having the best defense, and realizing, oh my God, I just realized Jared Goff is not going to do it for us. Having the wherewithal to say that in his head, actually make adjustments, talk to the guys that, whoever it is he needs to talk to, and get a guy like Matthew Stafford in the organization, make that move, and then develop him, develop yourself around him. I think these are things that need to be discussed. And so, to me, I feel like you look at the way he has just approached everything, I think it's a lot. We're finding out some good things about, Sean McVay, and then obviously what Matthew Stafford can do after that. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. So you got those two things. You got the head coach and you got the quarterback. We just talked about that. You don't have Stafford for 10 years, probably not, whatever. 5 to 6 is good enough for me. By then they'll be able to figure out who their quarterback's going to be, okay? So now, you think about it, okay? This is a team that had the number 1 defense, and if Jared Goff had Cooper Kupp in that game and Aaron Donald was healthy, they probably beat Green Bay. And Jared Goff is nowhere near as good as Stafford, so that's saying something, is that just because, even if Stafford retires, if you have, the pieces around you, you can do this. So anyway, on to my next point. With the running backs, okay? Running backs don't last forever, sure. You got Darrell Henderson who's getting banged up every now and then. 2019 draft pick. You have Sony Michel who's going to be a free agent. Could be affordable enough to bring back. Regardless, they drafted Jake Funk in the 7th round. But Cam Akers is back, and Cam Akers was drafted in 2020. And Cam Akers is going to be around until at least 2024. We'll see after that. That's another guy. Plus, the Rams have done such a nice job of finding running backs that, to me, I feel pretty good about that spot. All right, let's move on. Wide receivers. Cooper Kupp is extended. Robert Woods is extended. You have Van Jefferson from 2020. He'll be there until 2024 or more or longer. And now OBJ. The news comes out that OBJ, he basically says he is open to a pay cut. He is totally fine with taking less money as long as he remains a Ram. And now we're talking about the best receiver group in the NFL, and I don't think it's relatively close. So now you have those 4 receivers. You have Atwell. You have Jacob Harris, if those guys ever amount to anything from the draft. You have Skoranek, who's getting very valuable reps here and will potentially play a little bit in the Super Bowl. Then you look at the tight end. You look at, you have Tyler Higbee. If Jacob Harris wants to roll there, you have him. You have Kendall Blanton playing very well. When need be, maybe they can develop him into something, UDFA at a Mizzou, and then, maybe they bring back Johnny Munt, 1-year deal, whatever. So you have that. Bryson Hopkins, draft pick, maybe they stick with him. Offensive line. The biggest issue I have is when people say, well, the offensive line, right? Because you got to pay all these guys, right? Okay, you got to pay Corbett. You got to pay Allen. You got to pay Noteboom. What about Whitworth? If Whitworth retires, then the Rams are going to get about $13 to $14 million in cap space brought back to them. Okay, so that's not, I'm not saying I want Witt to retire. I hope he does retire on top, because if they lost, I wouldn't want him to just retire. that would make more sense if he retired on top. I mean, that's the mountaintop. You win the Super Bowl, you win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, and then you retire at age 40. Yeah, that's a pretty damn good career, a pretty damn good way to cap off your career, and probably a Hall of Fame career at that. But here's the thing, okay? If Whitworth retires, then they can just bring Noteboom back to be the left tackle of the future like they planned on doing. Noteboom, the left tackle. Then at left guard, you have 2019 draft pick in the 5th round, David Edwards, who has played a lot better, this year than years past. Okay, then center, do they bring back Brian Allen, the Pro Bowl alternate? Do they stick with Coleman Shelton? There are ways that they could go. I know they like Tremaine Ankrum. He's played a little bit at center, practiced a little bit there. Then you right guard, you bring back Austin Corbett. That might cost you something. That definitely might cost you a little bit, but he is absolutely worth it. If not, you do have other guys. And of course, you could talk about, once again, Ankrum there. You could talk about, maybe you try to get Alaric Jackson in the lineup. But I've been really impressed with Rob Havenstein. I think you guys are going to see it tomorrow. If you are not aware, Rob Havenstein has been the best offensive lineman on the Rams in the postseason. You had the great play in the Tampa game out of Noteboom. But the best offensive lineman this postseason for the Rams has been Rob Havenstein. And you have him extended as well. Then you move on to the defense. Aaron Donald, he's not going to play forever. He looks pretty damn good right now. I don't feel like he is expiring anytime soon. Okay? So not worried about that. Then you have A'Shawn Robinson. If you want the space, you could probably let A'Shawn Robinson go. You would incur about a $4.5 million cap hit, but you would also save about $5 million. So it's up to you. Then you have Sebastian Joseph Day, who's a free agent. Do you bring him back? He had the best win rate of anybody interior-wise against the run. Do you bring him back? I think you have to make an argument to bring back Bash. On top of it, you have Greg Gaines. 2019 draft pick. He is not going to be a free agent. You have him again. You probably have to worry about paying him later on, but this is somebody that you don't have to worry about this upcoming year. Then, of course, you have other guys like Marquise Copeland. You have Jonah Williams. You have Michael Hoyt. Those guys will be back. No questions asked. No worries. They're not going to cost much. Okay. Outside, on the edge, you have Obanai Okoronkwo, who will be a free agent. He doesn't quite fit what they look for in their archetype outside linebacker, but he did have a pretty good year. And if they could bring him back, okay, maybe you do it. You have Terrell Lewis. He wasn't quite what you expected because of the knee, but if he comes back and he's healthier, there's, some more help. Chris Garrett, their 7th round pick, very intriguing Chris Garrett, I might add. Had a great preseason, has a lot of upside. We'll see. Okay? And then on top of it, furthermore, you look at the guys right now. Leonard Floyd, everyone's talking about, he's got this $20 million cap hit. How are we ever going to stop? Guys, the $20 million cap hit can easily be restructured. As a matter of fact, he had about a $5 million cap hit this past year, and they're totally fine with keeping it at $20 million because then they can basically they can just extend, they can restructure the thing. So if they restructure that cap hit, very simple, they restructure the cap hit, they'll get under, they'll add more cap to their salary there. And the thing here that the Rams are doing is they're kicking the can down the road because Leonard Floyd has stepped up and has shown them no reason for them to want to cut him at any point and get out of that deal. So there's that. On top of it, Von Miller. When you win games, people want to join you. People like winning. Von Miller's there now. I've kind of made the argument he's either going to be a Bronco next year or he's going to stay with the Rams. If they win the Super Bowl, I think there's a pretty good chance he stays with the Rams, especially if Whitworth retires. They have extra cap. I could definitely see that. There is a pathway for the Rams to get to $60+ million in cap space. I'm not making that up. If you think it's unrealistic for the Rams to make a bunch of restructures, then I don't think you're realizing how this thing goes. You can't do what they're doing unless you have a rookie contract at quarterback. They don't have a rookie quarterback on their contract. Instead, it's Matthew Stafford, so they have a veteran. But if they do it the right way, and this is the thing, the way the Rams like to, basically create their contracts, formulate them. They have a certain way of doing things so they can manipulate the salary cap. So if you do that the right way, then Stafford's not going to kill you. He's actually going to free up some space next year if they extend him. And now you're talking about the other guys. You can ask Aaron Donald to restructure, and Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods and all those guys, and they all can do that because everybody at the end of the day has one common goal to win. Now, you get Von Miller back, you get OBJ back, and now, everyone's starting to see, everyone wants to be a part of this. You're running it back, quote unquote. It's like what the Bucs did. You can absolutely do it. So you look at the linebackers. This team doesn't need, as far as inside linebackers, this team doesn't absolutely need a dominant inside linebacker. To be honest with you, I'm totally fine with them rolling next year, with Ernest Jones, the rookie, who will be a second-year guy next year, and Travon Howard. And I'll also say this straight up. Those two guys, maybe they bring back Kenny Young, maybe not. I don't think they truly need to. But they got Christian Roseboom, who they're developing. I trust what Chris Shula and, some of the coaches are doing there as far as, with the linebackers. And then, furthermore, they got a really good player in Troy Reeder. You can say what you will, but getting a guy like that, UDFA out of Delaware, he's played very well for what they've asked him to do. So you get all those linebackers. We talked about the outside linebackers, the defensive line. Then you look at corner. And all of a sudden, unless Darius Williams comes out and balls out in the Super Bowl like I'm really worried he's not going to do, unless he does something like that, I think there's a good chance that he is not back next year. And if you think about it, that's a lot of money that at least in my head, I thought the Rams initially were going to have to spend or let him go. And with that said, then you could start looking at potential, what about J.C. Jackson? What about Stephon Gilmore? Guys like that may creep up and become more, of a possibility. Because as soon as an OBJ is like, hey, I came here halfway through the season, I'm going to take a pay cut, and I'm going to continue playing for this team, other players are going to be around the league like, man, he's taking a pay cut. Maybe I'll take a pay cut because I want to go and win. I'm tired of playing on the Jaguars. I'm tired of playing on the Panthers. I'm tired of playing on you name it. So that's the thing here, okay? It's not crazy. If the Rams win, I know people in the comment section were saying it's very homerish of me. Fine, whatever. You're totally free to say what you will. I'm not going to hold it against you, but I'll just say right now, I wouldn't say it if I didn't believe it. It's not coming from a homer spot. It's looking at the fact that they're the only team willing to make the moves that are needed to be made. Think about it. How many teams are out there going out and trading 2 first-rounders for a Jalen Ramsey-like corner? How many teams are out there, going to acquire a guy like Matthew Stafford? Think about it. How many teams are willing to trade a first-rounder for a receiver like Brandon Cooks? Or even sign Odell Beckham? How many teams are willing to trade a second and a third rounder for a 32-year-old Von Miller? There's just not many. There's actually hardly any. So the Rams will continue to do this. Other teams will continue to fail and build their teams the way they want to build them. They will continue to piss off their players. Those players will then become disgruntled, and the Rams will be swooping right in there at the deadline and opportunities and basically being opportunistic and stealing them. That is how they're going to continue this thing going over and over and over again. And here's the thing. It's not just that. It's very simple. With the Rams, they can do this because Sean McVay is there. Sean McVay knows who to bring in at coach. So he's getting all these coaches that can continue to develop these players. They have 34 draft picks on the roster, which is the most in the NFL. They have 4 or 5 trades that they've made. They have a few waiver claims. They built this team all over the place using all different ways. So it's not one of those things where you're like, well, they're going to have to pay Donald soon. They're going to have to pay Ramsey. They're already paid. They have to pay Stafford, okay? They will worry about crossing the Van Jefferson, Cam Akers, and all those guys, Ernest Jones bridge when they get to it. But right now, no, they do not have to pay those guys. And at the end of the day, what's the one common thing that's going to stay there if Sean McVay's there? It's going to be the revolving door of coaching staffs that Sean McVay handpicked. And I trust Sean McVay to continue that going. I trust Les Snead because Les Snead is not going anywhere. When you are in this position, no one is going to be hustling to get out of this position. And so that, to me, is why this team could be the next great dynasty if they win tomorrow night. That is why. Okay? You can disagree. Totally fine. You could say I'm jumping the gun. Totally fine. But at the end of the day, what does this team lack? What is the one thing you're scared of in this game? That's the thing. The one thing I'm scared of is one player in Darius Williams, just because I don't like the way he's played lately. But in reality, this Rams team, as long as they win tomorrow, they have a pathway based on the way that they've built their team. They have a pathway to success every year. And that's not even discussing the fact, and I forgot to mention this, the NFC. Okay? Who the hell is going to stop the Rams from getting back to the Super Bowl next year? Who? The 49ers? They beat them. And I really feel like that monkey has been completely taken off of Sean McVay's back. So the Rams beat the Niners. Okay? The Rams beat the Niners. And we'll see. I think the Niners will be back in the NFC title game. I really do. I said that. I think they'll be back. I think it'll be Rams and Niners. I think the Rams will win again. But I think it'll be Rams and Niners in the NFC title game because I think Trey Lance is going to be astronomically better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the defense will translate over. And I think they got a lot of pieces on the offense. McGlinchey will be healthy again on the offensive line. You talk about, keep in mind, Alex Mack might retire, so that's huge. But then, you have guys like Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk in another season. They're going to have pieces. But I don't think they'll be better than the Rams. And I saw my guy, Renee, who was saying that the NFC West is the best division. Who's scared of the Seahawks? What are the Seahawks going to do to allow them to compete with this team? What scares you about Seattle? The 49ers are the team that should scare you the most, but I still feel like that monkey has been taken off their back. Yes, they won 6 out of the last 7. Doesn't really matter. That should go away. It should be forever annihilated after they knocked him out in the biggest game. That was the most pressure. And I feel like the more and more Sean McVay continues to, climb up the mountain, the harder he's going to be to knock off because he has seen it all. He has been in every moment. That is what's going to happen as he gets more and more experience coaching. So no, I'm not scared of the Seahawks because the Seahawks are just not that great of a football team. What about if Russell Wilson's there? Don't care. Nothing this year led me to believe that Russell Wilson-led Seahawks are going to be enough to beat the Rams and win the division. They're just not. Okay, let's move on. Cardinals. The Cardinals, I don't even know what's going to go on with Kyler Murray, but I think there's an actual issue with Kyler Murray. And here's what I'm going to say. I like Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray looked like an MVP the first half of the season, and regardless of injury, I don't care who uses injury as an excuse, the second half of the season, he looked worn down, just like last year. Can Kyler Murray withstand a full NFL season, and can he still play at that same level he did earlier in the year? Kyler Murray is going to steal some of those games early on in the season with his mobility. He's going to be more confident. He's going to play well, but we've now seen it back-to-back seasons, 2 seasons in a row. Kyler Murray has slowed down at the end of the season. Not worried about the Cardinals. I'm just not. So it's the Niners and it's the Rams. Like I was saying, coming into the NFC title game, I think they'll be back. Then you look at the NFC North. I legitimately think that the Vikings are something to not be worried about, but have your eye on. I think they win that division next year 100% if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Packers. If he doesn't leave the Packers, then there's a chance that probably the Packers are in the NFC title game against the Rams. Who knows, right? There's still a chance there. But the Vikings with Kevin O'Connell, I think Mike Zimmer held that team back immensely. So I think Mike Zimmer coming there, you have the weapons on offense, obviously Cook and Jefferson and Thielen, and honestly, the tight end from Alabama, who wasn't able to play this year, he got hurt, Irv Smith, their second round pick. I think he'll have more of a, something there. And then, of course, Amir Smith-Marset out of Iowa. But no, I think that the Vikings and their defense, especially, I think things are going to get better on their side, and I think they're going to be the team to beat in that division. Does that mean I'm scared of them? No. Okay, let's move on. And I think Cousins will be fine. Let's move on. Detroit with Jared Goff. I think Detroit takes the next step next year. I think they are a team that's, focusing around that 7-9 win, rate where they're kind of, fluctuating. No, I do not think that they're scary against the Rams. I don't think that they have enough to knock off the Rams. So no. Okay, then we go to the Bears. The Bears, I didn't really love the hire of Eberflus, to be honest with you. But to be honest, I'm just looking at that and I'll see what happens, but I really like Fields long term. No, they don't scare me with the Rams. Okay, let's move on. Falcons. No. I think Arthur Smith has a chance to turn that thing around, but that big contract with Matt Ryan, the offensive line isn't good enough. Flat out just isn't good enough, and the defense is a lot to be desired. No, I don't think the Falcons are a threat to the Rams. Panthers, nope, they hired Ben McAdoo as their OC. I think their defense looks really good, headlined by Brian Burns. And obviously, they got some guys there. They added Gilmore. They added the other kid, J.C. Horn, who we saw for the first few games, then got hurt. I think they'll be really good on defense. They have some players on offense, of course. I just don't trust Ben McAdoo as the OC, and I don't think the Panthers are a threat. Then the Saints. I really like the Dennis Allen hire. I think that defense is still going to be ferocious. It's all about who's going to play quarterback. Are they going to bring back Winston? What's the deal there? I guess we'll find out. The Saints are a wait and see, but they're not a team. Regardless, I don't think that they are a threat to the Rams getting back to the NFC title. Getting back to the Super Bowl. Moving on. Okay, so we go to the Buccaneers. Well, Tom Brady's gone, so maybe this team goes out and gets Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson or something. They are good enough, but there's just too many questions. I didn't get a good sense of the locker room being all together, mainly because one player by the name of Levante David said there was turmoil in the locker room and that it wasn't together. So because of that, no, I don't think Tampa is a threat. Okay, let's move on to the NFC East. Dallas Cowboys. Dak hasn't won anything. If I could take Dak or Stafford right now, regardless of age, it is Stafford. Stafford right now, and this is where I'm going, in the NFC, he is the best quarterback in the NFC as soon as Rodgers leaves. There's not anybody that's better than Stafford in the NFC. So that's a big reason. The thing that helped the Patriots in their dynasty is that they played in the NFC East, or the AFC East. So they went up against Mark Sanchez. They went up against the Dolphins, with whether they were, running out Fiedler or whoever it was, they went up against that team. And then, of course, you look at the Bills, and it's like the Bills just got good. So you need to be able to win your division and have an easier time in your division. You need to be able to win your conference. I feel like the Rams truly dominate the NFC next year if they win the Super Bowl. And, you're trying to ask me to pick who the best quarterback in the division is. If Rodgers leaves, it's by far going to be, Matthew Stafford. I think I would take him over Russell Wilson. I'd take him over Kyler Murray all day and night. Kyler Murray can't play a full season. I just watched Stafford play a full season, lead his team to the Super Bowl, and dominate Kyler Murray on the big stage. Russell Wilson, like I said, he's not playing up to par, and I just don't trust their offensive line. I told you, the fall of Seattle was happening in 2021, and it did. That's exactly what happened. All right, so AFC, that's a different animal. And that's why, the Dynasty is, you got to win Super Bowls, of course, but the first step to winning a Super Bowl is getting to the NFC title game, winning that, and going to the Super Bowl representing your NFC. So I think they really have the NFC by the balls, so to speak, as long as they win this Super Bowl. Again, a lot of this comes down to winning tomorrow. So I'm not, again, trying to say that they've already won and it's easy. They got to win. But I really feel like, if they do win, they have a very good pathway to a potential dynasty. That's what I'm saying. The AFC is going to be a lot of fun. You got Josh Allen, you got Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, potentially Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. That's that. So I mean, Kenny, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, here's the thing, guys, okay? So I've been talking about this, but I also did a preview on the Super Bowl. So I'm not trying to repeat myself and bore you guys by literally talking about the same content over and over and over again. So that's why we're talking about something a little bit different. And this all started because everyone was talking about, like, oh, is Sean McVay going to leave? No, I think Sean McVay is going to win multiple Super Bowls. That's what I think. So if he wins in this game, then I think he's going to end up with a lot of Super Bowls. I think he's going to have a chance to rival Bill Belichick. Okay? I think he's going to have a chance to rival Bill Belichick as most all-time for a coach. And that turns people off. But again, like, none of my talk is going to, it's not going to affect the team. So I don't know why people get all upset about it. Yeah. Renee, I disagree. I absolutely disagree. I don't think it's unrealistic because if they win, once again, if they win the Super Bowl, then they have all the pieces is what I'm saying. I don't think it's that hard. Like, I don't think it's that hard to see that the Rams can set themselves up as the team to beat, period. Like, you obviously have to defend your title, great, but this team, like, everyone was saying how they can't win this way, it's not going to work. Sean McVay, the golden boy, he only had 3 points in the Super Bowl. Stafford, he can't win the big game. He's 0-3. Maybe I'm just tired of hearing that. Maybe, like, all of us, a lot of us, this community, we've all kind of said all year, we've talked about how this team is, like, not getting the fair benefit of the doubt and how everything they do is criticized. And then immediately when it's, when they're proven wrong, people do the moonwalk. They move out of the way. Like they're Nick Miller from New Girl. Like, they're like, nope, gonna get out of that one. Before anybody sees me, gonna delete that tweet. I mean, I just remember how many people were like, it's so ridiculous, man. Like, trading for Stafford, he's not worth the 2 first-rounders. He's not that good. Stat Padford, man, he couldn't win in Detroit. What makes you think he can win here? I remember the people telling me, Jared Goff is clearly the better option. I think they made a drastic mistake here. Or, some of my favorites. We should just fire Sean McVay. He doesn't have this thing going the right way. And, it's like, God. My real favorite is all the Raheem Morris nonsense that we got. Raheem Morris isn't going to do it, guys. This defense is going to be terrible, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, okay. About that, this defense is giving up less than 61 yards per game on the ground against teams in the Super Bowl. They've done an outstanding job at stopping the run. The thing that everyone all year, for whatever reason, thought they couldn't do. DXNES, I totally agree. The Niners absolutely made the mistake of not trading for Stafford. That was crucial. And you know what? I think the Niners should have gone after Derek Carr. I think the Niners with Derek Carr could have been really scary. So, Who are the Rams going to be able to keep? They're like 20-plus free agents after the game, 80% of the O-line, including Witt's replacement, add in OBJ and Vaughn, and it's hard. I mean, I guess, but, pay cuts, restructures. Renee, I just said they can get up to $60 million cap space. I didn't just, Like, I didn't just make that up. You can go on Spotrac, and they have this way, like, you can actually figure out how much cap space. You can make your own moves and things like that. So, I don't know. Wasn't very late in the season. Here's what happened with Raheem. Okay, Raheem was running a bend don't break defense. Sean McVay had a lot to do with that. He wanted to have the bend don't break defense. He didn't want to give up the big play because he had Matthew Stafford. So it was basically the insurance. It was basically that insurance, like, hey, we have Matthew Stafford, we have this offense, we're good. Just make sure you don't give up the big play and hurt us. And so that was the bend don't break. Okay, when they lost those 3 games, Raheem and Sean McVay came together and basically said, you know what? We gotta make adjustments. We gotta tighten this defense up. The bend don't break is not working. As you guys know, they really haven't been playing the bend don't break as much, not to that degree. So, and we've seen it. You let this team just pin their ears back, rush the quarterback, throw fire at, that's the thing. When Joe Burrow's trying to get rid of the ball on Sunday really quickly, he's going to be forcing the Rams to make tackles. And if the Rams can do that, they're going to win the game. Because I think this pressure is going to get to him. And I do think that not playing in a Super Bowl, there's no way to tell how a player's going to operate. Here's the thing that is not talked about. Patrick Mahomes. People will say, Patrick Mahomes didn't look like a rookie in the Super Bowl. He didn't look like that was his first time. Yeah, because it wasn't his first time. Because here's the thing. It was, but he was taken care of. Andy Reid had already been in Super Bowls before. Okay? So Andy Reid had already seen it. Being in that game, it's so different. That's why I think Von Miller and his experience is going to be much needed in this game. I think Aaron Donald, remembering all the talk that, happened with him, I think that's going to be important. I think Sean McVay is going to learn from his mistakes. They're not going to score just 3 points in this Super Bowl. And I'm also tired of hearing with that Super Bowl against the Patriots, I'm tired of hearing it like, the way it's worded is like the Rams were dominated. The Rams weren't dominated in that game. It was 13-3. And to be honest with you, if Jared Goff hits Brandon Cooks, or rather if they call pass interference on Stephon Gilmore, sets him up at the 1 yard line, likely they're just going to plow it in the end zone with Todd Gurley. It's a completely different game. But that's the thing, guys, is that it wasn't a blowout. Wade Phillips had completely shut down Tom Brady, and all he could do is take what the defense gave him. And that's why Julian Edelman won, MVP, because of stats. I mean, it's not like Julian Edelman just basically took what the defense gave him. I will never agree with the fact he won that Super Bowl MVP. The Super Bowl MVP, if anything, was Kyle Van Noy, or it was Stephon Gilmore with the plays that he had. Let's be honest here. Kyle Van Noy's pressure on Goff, he had a great game, and Stephon Gilmore with the game-saving interception. I mean, let's call it like it is. So, I mean, here's the thing, okay? They didn't get blown out. They didn't. But regardless, even if they did, which they didn't, McVay has that experience. So, Stafford, people are talking, well, this is Stafford's first ever Super Bowl, just like Burrow's. Okay, this is Zach Taylor's first ever Super Bowl. A lot of these guys on the Bengals, they've never been to a Super Bowl. So, the Rams have that experience factor because a lot of their guys that are still around, they've been in a Super Bowl, like Donald, like Sean McVay. There are guys out there like Von Miller. They have the Super Bowl experience. Not everybody. And there's a lot of guys that don't because they are a young team. But, I mean, Cooper Kupp didn't get a chance to play in one. So that'll be nice. But, I mean, just, I just think that's how I would look at that is basically, first off, it wasn't a blowout. Second off, we didn't really take into account how important it was to have that Super Bowl game experience. And we found out, unfortunately, with Belichick versus Sean McVay. And I think we're about to find out, in my opinion anyway, I think we're about to find out how big it is with Zach Taylor versus Sean McVay. Make no mistake about it. The Bengals deserve to be here. I, appreciate the Bengals. I think the Bengals, I respect them a lot. But I just don't get the feeling that, and I think this will be a close game, but I just don't get the feeling that when push came to shove in the final moments, they would be able to make the plays that I think the Rams could, even if the thing didn't go in the Rams' favor to start out. How big of a loss do you think Higbee will be tomorrow? Great question. He's going to be a genuinely big loss because of what he can do as a blocker and a receiver and how he's on the same page as Stafford. But I don't think that should take anything away from what Kendall Blanton did last week. And so I'm actually pretty curious to see Kendall Blanton on Prize Picks. You can go over, by the way, to Prize Picks, sign up using promo code DTRAMS, and get a 100% bonus match on your first deposit. But, over on Prize Picks, he's like a 29.5 prop for his receiving yards. I think he goes over that, and I think he catches a touchdown in this one. I actually have Beckham, Kupp, and Blanton catching touchdowns. So anytime touchdowns for those three. Let's see. Anyone have any questions? I'm trying to answer some questions now since I was told not to be talking about the Dynasty. Again, not saying that they're automatically a dynasty. I'm just saying they have a pretty good chance to be if they win the Super Bowl. I think Blanton is going to fill in very well, actually. I'm a big fan of his. Be sure to give this a thumbs up, by the way. Hit the like button. Would really appreciate it. We're over 100 viewers, so that would be awesome. Kenny, no, I would not be chill with that. I'd be pretty pissed, actually, because McVay has already kind of come out and said, talking to Rappaport that, he's committed to coaching and that it was, basically the whole thing was taken out of context. So I would be pissed if he went back on his word. Reader, I don't think starts over Jones, but we'll see. What extension will Stafford get? What extension will Stafford get? I don't know, because I don't know if he would take a pay cut or not. I think he could, but, there's no way to know until you know. That's the thing, so I don't know about that. That's a good question. Yeah, he could take a big pay cut. We'll see. Absolutely. 45 and 51 were NFL championships, and they should count. I think NFL championships should count as Super Bowl wins. I do. You're going to make a big deal about all the leatherheads and getting them into the Hall of Fame. Why are you going to discredit everything that they did before? I don't understand that. Steve, I agree. Blanton, Weddle, and Scott are guys that I'm very interested in. Yeah, that would have been nice if they traded Goff earlier for Stafford. You think Nick Scott's going to make Boyd cough up the football? We'll see. I'm not worried about Eli Apple knowing OBJ at all. Who do you think will have the most impactful hit of the game? It's either going to be Scott or I'd say Scott or Weddle. Super Bowl MVP, I think it's Stafford, and if it's something crazy, then I think it's going to be Eric Weddle. Because I think Eric Weddle's going to have a pick. I can see the ending of the game. Call me crazy. I can literally hear it in my head. At the end of the game, you have Al Michaels. Burrow deep down the field. He's looking for Chase, and it's picked off by Weddle. And the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. I can literally hear that in my head. Look, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. All I care about is the Rams winning. It's going to be awesome. Obviously, if that happens, we'll have a lot of fun. But I can so hear that in my head happening. I don't know why. I can literally, I can see it. Can't stress it enough. And I think Kupp is going to get his targets. I think Kupp is going to get his production. But I think we're more likely going to see about we're going to see Odell Beckham Jr. Have the better game. I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be Odell's time to shine. I think they both catch touchdowns as well as Blanton, but I think Odell's going to have the better game than Kupp. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Kupp could feast. I would not be surprised if he did. I just think that the Bengals are going to go out of their way to overemphasize Cooper Kupp and then let guys like OBJ and Van to do stuff down the field, over the middle, things like that. Yeah, I mean, they're going to use screens for sure. I would watch out for Jamar Chase. I mean, he's been taking jet sweeps, lately, so I'd watch out for that. Wearing your Rams jersey to church. I dig it. Let's see. I just got apparently UPS left me the message, because for those of you who follow me on Twitter, I had my Odell Beckham Jr. jersey coming in the mail, and I won it from a friend via a giveaway, and it was supposed to come in the mail, and like UPS delivered it to some weird address or something. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna wrap this thing up soon, though. I'm getting pretty tired, and we got a long ass day tomorrow. I'm going on some shows beforehand, which I normally don't do, but yeah. I saw the Detroit Rams gear. That was kind of weird. Night, Joakim. Guys, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Got 51. I'd love to get to over 100 before I head on out of here. You guys can do me that favor. Would really appreciate it. Also, really appreciate everyone who's subscribed. We're at 11,656 subscribers, so we're working our way up the rungs, hoping to get to 12,000 shortly. Well, I guess we'll find out, but yeah, that's where we are right now. I don't know why I keep seeing slurp in the comment section. It's kind of weirding me out. 64, let's get those likes up. Hit the thumbs up if you like the show. HD, God, what shows have I been going on? I went on Camelo's Corner. I went on an Arsenal podcast to talk about Stan Kroenke. So if anyone's into soccer, I went on that podcast. I went on Bears Talk Underground, I think it is. God, I've gone on so many. Nuts and Bolts Sports. Sure I'm forgetting. I mean, I know I'm forgetting a bunch, but I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head. Yeah, Bears Talk Underground I know is one of them. And I went on... I just like the names, it's hard for me to remember. So, but yeah, I've gone on quite a few. I did a Spaces the other day that got a crazy amount of listeners. Got like over 1,000 listeners in 3 hours. Pretty cool. But yeah, I did Spaces on Twitter. And oh, by the way, today has been our biggest day. I don't know why, but it has. We've never hit. Let's see. Or the last 48 hours, sorry. Last 48 hours, I'm over 32,000 views on the channel, which is incredible. We hit 1 million views not long ago, so things are definitely going well. Gotta say that. Later, Hilltop. You're welcome, Brian. I appreciate you guys supporting me, though. It's really cool that you want to go and check out the shows I've been on. That's really cool. Really cool stuff. Let's see. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it. Be sure to hit that thumbs up, like the channel, subscribe if you haven't. Really appreciate you all tuning in. We're one more sleep away from a Super Bowl game that we've been waiting for. So let's all be good people, and let's all keep the excitement to a maximum, and let's keep the hate to a minimum. So I will see you guys soon. We'll talk tomorrow. We'll be doing the preview show and the post-game show, the pregame show, sorry, and the post-game. I'll be going live after, regardless of the outcome. Hopefully tomorrow night at this point, well, we won't know by this time, but a little bit later in the night, tomorrow, hopefully we're talking about the Rams as 2-time Super Bowl champions and 4-time NFL champions. But that is going to do it for me. Appreciate you guys. You can go over to the Twitter and follow me back at not even talking right now, like all over the place, at JK Bogan. We got one more sleep, folks. One more. Be sure to check out my other videos as well. Be sure to check out the podcast I did with Alexis Kraft, previewing the game, and the other shows I've been on. They're all on Twitter. So you guys take care, and I'll see you guys soon. Later.